Today we're going to talk about ISO. We're going to talk about what it is, what does it mean, and how to use it.
So ISO stands for International Standards Organization. And what this is it measures the sensitivity of the image sensor.
So right here, we will be looking at the monitor from the Ursa Mini, right? So right over here, that's where we have the ISO. So if you touch that, you notice how you have 4 different ones, right? And so now each one is a stop. Notice how the numbers also double. So what we'll do is we will record so that way we can see the comparison, the difference of the 4. So right now we are filming at ISO 200. We're gonna bump it up to 400. Now we are gonna switch to 800. Usually around 800 is where you start to see noise, and you wanna avoid that. But there are conditions where you have to film at 800. For example, indoor live events, because it could get very dark and you don't have as much exposure. Now, depending what type of camera you have, you'll definitely see a lot of noise at 1600. You want to avoid this because nobody likes to see noisy footage. Now, just to give you a little example, we're gonna shoot outdoors. Since it's super bright outside, I'm putting the aperture to an 8. And we are going to start with the ISO at 200. Now we have 400. Now we have 800 and 16. And you notice how super bright it got. You lost a lot of information here. If you are shooting RAW, and that's more for the higher end cinema cameras, then there's a good chance you're gonna be able to get this information back. But if you're shooting regular, then you lost all this information. Now, some cameras are recommended to shoot at a certain ISO. So for the Ursa Mini, its native ISO is 800. That's the sweet spot. I don't always shoot that way, but that's what's recommended by Blackmagic. The best ISO to use is really 200 or 400. Those are ideally for outdoors or indoors that are well lit.
I only recommend 400 ISO outside if it's starting to get dark or you have filters. But in the middle of the day, you definitely don't need it. It'll be super blown out.
A good rule of thumb, what I always do, no matter what setting I'm in, whenever I set up the camera, first thing I do is set up the ISO. Then I'll start tweaking the aperture. Now you're gonna be able to see the differences. That's all for today, folks. Be sure to stick around for more episodes. I will be going over aperture and shutter. If you're watching this on YouTube, please hit like and subscribe, and we'll see you later.